But before we, listen to these young minds about the ideas that need to be followed to, preserve our planet Earth, we have to think in terms of the issues and challenges that the climate change has, thrown. Because all of us have experienced it that there is rising global temperatures because of greenhouse emissions, which are resulting in heat waves, melting glaciers, and the altered climate patterns. We have also seen in our own neighborhood, especially in Kashmir, we are experiencing this time severe cold, which was not maybe 5 or 10 years back, but we are seeing the -4, -3 temperature in Kashmir in December. In fact, it started from late November itself, which was not earlier the case. Similarly, in Kashmir, what we used to experience was, four distinct seasons: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And there was definitely a perceptible and, visible change between these different seasons. But now we are seeing that these things are now merging. I mean, we don't see that much a big change in these seasons. And also, the climate is shifting. Like it used to be moderately cold in this particular time, and then it will be followed by the snowfall, and gradually from February and March the snow will melt, and then the life will again begin, and flowers will start coming in the month of March, or in April. What we experience in Kashmir now is that flowers start coming in February itself, and November becomes too cold, and January becomes moderately cold, and then you have some snowfall also. This, the global, what we call the climate change and the global warming, earlier we thought, it is a Western concept. Some 10 years, 15 years back, when people talked about climate change and they talked about the global warming, we thought this is a Western thought, and, it's not going to, impact us. Then I had the honor of producing one film on the climate change and the global warming, which incidentally won me a national level award also. In that, I had seen how locally the climate change is impacting our weather patterns. It's impacting our flowering seasons. It's impacting our agricultural practices. It's impacting our life and behaviors. So these global temperatures which are rising, they create extreme weather events which result in intensified floods, which most of us are experiencing. We are now experiencing more droughts, cyclones, wildfires, and heat waves, causing large scale human displacement and economic losses. Then there are, the reports of the sea level rising, threatening the life in the coastal areas. Some of the islands will probably vanish in some years, because every year the water level of the oceans is increasing. This at a different level is also creating what's called the food security. Then there is water scarcity, then there is agricultural distress. This is all related to the climate change, and the global warming. Climate change also disrupts the ecosystem, leading to coral bleaching, species extinction, forest degradation, and loss of ecological balance. In fact, it's two way. One, that we are degrading our forests, and second is because of the the climate change and the global warming, we are losing the forest cover. And then of course there is this irresponsible act of development in the forest areas, where in the name of development we are cutting the trees, we are destroying the ecosystem of our forests. Then at a different level also, when the climate change and the global warming is impacting, we are seeing spread of vector-borne diseases, heat-related illnesses, respiratory problems, and mental health stresses are linked to changing climate conditions. And at a different level, it's also causing economic inequality and climate justice, because people are now shifting their livelihoods because of the climate change, because of the global warming. There is a lot of people who are moving from their own places to the urban areas, which is creating a different sort of a problem also, because rapid urbanization, poor infrastructure, informal settlements make cities more susceptible to floods, heat waves, and stress the pollution. Now, to mitigate these issues and fight climate change, we need strong policy and impactful governance. Of course, lots of conferences are being held, global summits are being convened, youth are being engaged. not only at the international level, at the national level, at the school level. There are lots of people. I am also coming from a university, and every year we have number of events in the university where we discuss about the climate change, we discuss about the global warming, we discuss about the destruction that these things are bringing to our planet. But what we observe at the end is that there is lack of political will at the international level, at the national level, at the local level. There's a weak international cooperation. We don't cooperate because if India implements something, it will have definitely its repercussions on the neighboring countries also. So when one country decides not to become part of this global action, then the other country, even if it does something, it doesn't. So unless there is a global agreement on certain things, especially on reducing the emissions of the emissions which are resulting in the depletion of the ozone layer, these things will not work much. And unless we have adequate implementation and climate policies, that will hinder effective climate action. So what's required is there have to be pressure groups at local level, at national level, at international level, which will make the governments accountable for all these things, issues that are happening. Now coming to, because it's a youth forum basically, coming to how youth can help, as has been said by one of the speakers in the previous session also, okay, youth have this energy, they are digital natives, they have the technology at their available to them. Now social media is making things spread faster, communication becomes easier, and grouping the people becomes much easier. So what's important is, first is, they say live by example. So how can we live by example? All youth, they can now adopt a lifestyle by conserving energy, using public transport or bicycles, minimizing plastic use, choosing sustainable consumption habits. That's important. Climate awareness and education, youth can play an important role, as I said, in social media, because most of our youth, and India has this advantage of being the youngest country with a huge population, young population. So we can engage in community forums and in education institutions, as was being said earlier also, to spread awareness about climate change and educate for responsible environment policies. Besides that, we also need to participate actively in environmental movements by joining or leading climate action groups, eco clubs, tree plantation drives, clean up campaigns, and climate strike helps mobilize and collect. Now when we say be a part of this particular movement, it has to begin from our home, it has to begin from my society, it has to begin from my mohalla, it has to then become from my city, from my institution. Then gradually, they say that we do our bit at our own level, the things will definitely change. So one of the things that we immediately can probably do as the youth is to increase the green cover of our houses. Plant, as much as is possible. If there is not enough space, you can use your verandas, you can use your terraces, put green plants wherever you can do. At least some of the things can be done at your level. Then youth can also contribute by developing and promoting eco-friendly technologies, renewable energy solutions, waste management, innovations, and sustainable development models. When we say this, we don't say necessarily because we have not invented the wheel. Lots of things have already been done at global level. What's expected of the youth is to go and understand them. Now technology has made it very easy to see what is being done in other countries, what is being done in other countries which don't have. You see, when we see at our own country, we have the highest number of cities which are choking for fresh air. Our capital, Delhi, is having round the year, and especially during these winter months, it has a high what we call the polluted air. The levels of the pollutants in the air, and it becomes difficult to breathe. And somebody said other day that being in Delhi for a day you will smoke 30 cigarettes a day. The impact will be that. So what can be done is, one is that we develop our own local, solutions to the problems. Second is to try to understand what others have done and their places, and try and test them, and then spread the message about them in your own, areas, in your own cities, and engage, with local governance, participate in public consultation, and holding leaders accountable. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, I throw this particular session open to discussion, and I will be looking forward to listen to our young ambassadors who may have more fresh ideas about the climate change. And then at the end, probably I will make some more concluding remarks. Thank you very much.